got logged out of Instagram on this phone, and I usually use this phone to do Instagram, and it won't let me log back in, so just switching things up. I'm here to go live and answer any questions that you guys might have. I'm gonna go ahead and get on Instagram. Okay, here we go. All right, here to answer any questions. I'm on Instagram, YouTube. So yeah, it was really nice to make the announcement that I am pregnant, and Tyler and I could not be more thrilled. We are so excited. Good morning, here to answer any questions that you guys might have. So I've had a lot of people message me and say, oh, I thought you were pregnant because I saw you in a video. And I mean, I was wondering how many people would say that, or how many people would catch on before I made the announcement. Thank you. We're super excited. Thank you so much. It's been, hard to keep it a secret, but also not hard, just because, it's nice to keep things private for a while, and just to enjoy the process. And so I'm excited to finally share with you guys and take you along the journey. Everything has gone so well. I literally had one day of bad nausea. It was a Sunday morning. And other than that, I've had moments of nausea, not extreme, not to the point of getting sick. It's been so minimal that I was nervous that I miscarried or something. So, really not any symptoms. Definitely don't have explosive energy, but I also haven't touched caffeine. So I'm not doing any pre-workout, nothing, not even caffeinated tea. So I definitely felt that in the beginning, but nothing big, and it's always good to take a break from caffeine anyways. Thank you. Glad to see 4 people on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. So yeah, my due date is January 18th. I have been watching the Candace Owens series of the vaccine schedule. What are your thoughts of vaccines? I think vaccines... Okay, so there are some vaccines that have helped people, and they can be a good thing, but in general, I think it's most safe to avoid them. I have not been vaccinated at all. My mom said no to every single one, and I'm so grateful for it. And I still ran into a lot of issues, but I would stay away from them. Nisha Berry I believe that they did one vaccine for their child, their most recent, or both of them, and I don't know which one that is, but I plan on reaching out. She is really good at all things pregnancy and child labor and stuff like that, and so I plan on maybe considering that one. But if we're talking about the C vaccine, I think it's baloney, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I don't think, we have immune systems. We don't necessarily have to get a vaccine to be immune to something. With the pandemic, the people who didn't already have comorbidities did pretty well. I don't like getting too much into this topic because I don't want my video to be flagged or something like that, but yeah. Congratulations on your baby. I know the pain of trying and loss. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you are comforted in that pain as well. The sting doesn't go away. It just gets less, maybe, or more manageable. I don't know who all... I think some people are still not aware that I had a miscarriage in November. And it was just really we don't know why. I don't think we'll ever know why. My labs look excellent, and I've tested thoroughly. So I think it's just one of those things that we just have to leave in God's hands and trust Him. And clearly, He wants us to be fruitful and multiply, and to name him David. So we're excited and so grateful. Thank you. So with that news, we are house hunting. We were actually under contract with a property in Tennessee. I know some of you guys saw that. It was like 208 acres. And it fell through because someone came in with a cash offer, and obviously we could not offer that. And so the buyer went with that because he was in sort of a time constraint. So that was very disappointing because we were like 98% sure we were going to be moving to Tennessee, and that would be our forever home. But now we are really, really blessed with where we're at. We have an incredible church. We have an incredible family at CrossFit. We love our neighbor Pat. It's not the best town. It's actually kind of ghetto, but we're also really close to everything that we need and love. And God has provided so much with where we're at in this season. And so we're considering looking for properties maybe in Wisconsin or even still in Illinois. Tyler doesn't have to pay property tax in Illinois because he was in the Navy. And so that's definitely a benefit. So we're just considering, because the place we're at now is not the best for a baby. Like, we have a space for an infant, but it would be great to have an actual nursery. So we've been looking, but we'll see what happens. I'm not worried either way. I love where we live, but I'm excited. There's a lot of really cool things coming around the corner. My retreat is coming up. Hey, Sanja. My retreat's coming up October 11 through 16. It's going to be so much fun. So I actually hired a private chef to help with all of the food preparation, because this is going to be the biggest group yet, up to 55 people, guests. And so I will definitely need help, and I want professional help, because I don't want to overcook the meat. Like, I want everyone to know that their value, like what they paid, was well worth it. And everyone always tells me that, and I appreciate it, but like it matters so much that you feel like you're getting a luxurious experience. So we're very excited, and Tyler's obviously really excited because he always does a lot of cooking, especially the meat. All right, I know you guys have questions, so bring them on. What else is new? Since I've been pregnant, I have been supplementing with folate every day. And so if I don't get 6 eggs, then I take the supplement, because I want at least 400 milligrams. And I've also been supplementing with glycine, which I was taking before pregnancy, but now I'm doing it daily. The body requires a lot more glycine, and the uterus actually requires so much more collagen. I just learned this recently. And so I take collagen supplements, not every day. I just enjoy them, like in my yogurt or something. But I've been doing that on a regular basis too. And then of course I eat a ton of Billy Doe meats, the very collagenous cuts, like the shank and the bone-in stew meat and the ribs. And then other than that, not much has changed since being pregnant. I'm sleeping really hard. I have great energy during the day. I have scaled my cardio. I have not scaled my lifting very much, maybe a little bit during the Metcons, the fast part of the workouts, but I've actually hit a couple of PRs. I feel very strong. I feel really good, but cardio is something that always it just feels like too much on my body. I remember this from the last pregnancy. I actually threw up while I was running once, and so I have not been running. I just don't even want to take it there. I am being extra careful, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's still great to move my body though, and lift, and I am definitely gaining muscle. So I see this as a season of growth, like a healthy bulk, definitely putting size on my body, and I'm gaining muscle, and I'm healthy, and I'm super excited about it. Do you find that environment sensitivities are reduced when people are carnivore for a while? For example, mold allergies. Just started carnivore yesterday, still figuring out how much to eat. So in terms of how much to eat, I have a video on fat to protein ratio, I have a video on calories, and I have a video on tracking macros, and I would recommend those to you. They would probably be helpful, because eating enough is so important, and eating enough fat and protein for your bio-individual needs is very important for you to be successful on a carnivore diet. In terms of allergies, carnivore helps a lot with allergies. I used to use an inhaler. I used to have asthma. My allergies were pretty bad. I am allergic to a certain type of grass. But yeah, in the spring, it used to be pretty bad. Now it's not. In terms of mold, it's very important for people to get out of that environment. You can become more resilient by the way that you're eating, but at some point you have to leave the exposure. And the thing is, there's mold everywhere. Like you're gonna have to move into like a new build to avoid mold. It's really everywhere. But there is, what are we talking about? Like a little bit of black mold in your shower, or are we talking about tons of mold behind your drywall in your living room? Because that's a big difference. So if you know of mold and you're being exposed to it, please do your best to treat it. I understand that not everyone can pick up their bags and buy another house. I understand that not everyone can afford $10,000 of mold remediation. You can get an air filter. You can just do your best. So you can become more resilient. And totally, I have SIRS and agree that leaving is necessary. I had a feeling you had SIRS. So I've worked with many people with SIRS. Some need to do the shoemaker protocol. Some do not. I had SIRS. I did not do the shoemaker protocol. And I definitely was exposed to mold during my healing. I mean, I was living in Tyler's bonus room in the most ghetto house in the most ghetto part of our town. It didn't even have heating in that room. This is an old house in the ghetto. Like, for sure there was mold. We found black mold in our shower. I didn't freak out because I know that when God heals someone, it's a done deal. And we now take care of the mold and it doesn't come back. And we make sure of that. Am I going to hire someone to look behind all of our walls and live in fear? No. But I'm not dealing with symptoms. So for someone who is dealing with ongoing symptoms and you know you have mold, please work at getting into a better environment. And optimizing your nutrition 100 million% will make a difference no matter who you are. Whether or not you need the shoemaker protocol, you are choosing to support your immune system in your body at a systemic level, and that is going to help you fight all of this and become more resilient. I hope that helps. And I will be taking the shoemaker protocol course that Nutrition with Judy took. I'm going to be taking that after my next baby appointment. One thing I have noticed in my first trimester is that I've been forgetful. It's just ridiculous things. And I don't want to take on a big course and learn a bunch of new stuff and forget it. So I'm waiting till the second trimester officially, but I will be taking that course as well. How to improve bile in one's body. So you need to heal your liver. Your liver produces bile for the gallbladder. You can take things like digestive bitters, which help to stimulate bile production. You can take ox bile, which can help. You can take pepsin and betaine to help you digest protein, hydrochloric acid, HCl. But to get to the root of it, you need to heal your liver. So again, you need to eat in a way that is supporting to your body and allows your organs to heal. And that will include your liver, your gallbladder, which will improve bile production. Part 1. I am trying carnivore and a second time. The first time I felt nauseous at night and was tired a month. 2. Found out after sodium was 130. I'm bumping it up this time, but I'm worried to overdo it. 3 to 4 electrolyte drinks instead of 1 to 2. I'm an underweight 28-year-old female. Should I be worried about too much salt? No. If you're not, I love this question. Thank you for asking it. If you're not eating carbs, you do not need to worry about too much salt. You will pee out what you don't need. salt doesn't damage your kidneys. It's not dangerous. I take 10 grams of sodium per day. So for you, that would probably be 10 of your electrolyte packets or scoops. Generally, they come in like 800 to 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram. I take 10 per day to be optimal. So please don't be afraid of that, especially if you're underweight. Your adrenals might be running at a higher pace, and your adrenals also need extra sodium to be supported very often anyways. So if you're not eating carbs and sugar and seed oils, no, you don't need to worry about salt. What I would say to you is try increasing it from where you're at by 0.5 gram of sodium per day. So you said you're taking, so I would just increase it by half of one of your drinks per day until you feel like you've had enough. Sodium is so essential, and the nausea also that you mentioned, the first time you felt nauseous at night, another thing to look out for is rendered fat. That's any type of melted, liquefied fat. A lot of people eat that and they feel nauseous because essentially it's going through your gallbladder at a rate that your liver can't produce enough bile to break it down, right? We were just talking about liver and how it produces bile for the gallbladder. So when we eat melted fat or drink fat, it's going through us too quickly and it causes nausea, diarrhea, sometimes heart palpitations. It's not pleasant. So eating the fat that is attached to your meat, like some really nice lamb chops from Billy Doe Meats, they have a thick fat cap, but it's not melted. Fully rendered fat is tallow. It's liquefied, and that is what can really make people sick and get in trouble. The nausea could also have just come from dehydration, though, if you found out that your sodium was low. That was a good question. I am very passionate about electrolytes and sodium. I've told this story before, but when Tyler and I were dating before I got married, he thought it was crazy that I needed so many electrolytes to feel optimal. And I started feeling really self-conscious about it. So I went down on them. And the next morning I was in my sauna on a call, of course naked, because I'm in my sauna. And I get so sick, nauseous. And I get out of my sauna and go into my kitchen to cool off, still naked. And I have a male roommate, by the way, but I was like so sick. I was like, I have to get out of here. And I believe it took a towel with me, but I passed out in my kitchen. I like just hung up the phone. I was like, I have to call you back. And then I passed out. And so I woke up on the kitchen floor naked, chipped my tooth, still have the chip. And so that is why I will never risk my electrolytes again. It's just not an option for me. Thoughts on fruit? How much is too much? Depends on the person. Sometimes someone has to do no fruit because maybe someone has epilepsy and they're going for really high ketones for the therapeutic effect. For that person, I would say let's keep fruit really minimal. Maybe some strawberries might be okay. That's not going to kick you out of ketosis. What about someone who used to have a binge eating disorder and anything sweet triggers them? For that person, I would say let's just stay away from sweet tasting things until you become leptin sensitive, and heal at an emotional level as well. Heal your relationship with food. That's what I had to do. For me, I eat lots of fruit now. There are days, Saturday and Sunday this past week, I didn't eat any carbs. But many days now I have watermelon, I have apples, I have berries. I even have had bananas. I've been making protein shakes with bananas. It's so tasty. I'll do like peanut butter collagen and do a banana in there, and my blood sugars don't spike. My ketones barely go down, like they're still very high. So that's awesome. But I've not always been like this. Like I never thought I'd be able to eat a banana. That's pretty high carb. So it just depends on the metabolic flexibility. It depends on the season, the emotional standpoint, the relationship with food, the goals. So it's hard for me to say how much is too much because it depends on the person. But I can definitely say that fruit should never take the place of animal foods because you get your nutrients from animal foods. fruit is great for helping keep your electrolytes up. It has some minerals, but I'm not eating fruit for the vitamins because most of them are not bioavailable. So never let your fruit replace your animal foods. I can say that. What do you suggest for liver health? I have bad liver params. I don't know what that last word means, but for liver health, I would suggest not eating sugar anymore. Cut out the alcohol, cut out the sugar, and cut out the seed oils, and your liver will heal. You also need fat. You need, oh man, it's like a huge amount, like gallons of fat each month for your liver to regenerate. It's a huge amount. You need healthy, saturated animal fat. You will heal, your liver will heal if you support it like that. So I always say remove the interference and provide a proper foundation. And so what I mean is remove the alcohol and provide the fat. Good. Yeah, keep up your electrolytes. As long as you're not feeling uncomfortable. I will say I overdosed on electrolytes once. It was on our honeymoon. So I brought my electrolytes to the open bar, and they were making drinks for me with ice and lime juice and my electrolytes, and they were delicious. But I was just relaxing and laying in the sun, so I drank like 8 of them or something like that. And I think they were putting 4 scoops in each drink. And so that night I was freezing cold. I couldn't feel my legs for a long time. It was a horrible night. It was very scary. That was potassium overdose in particular, for sure. Taking too much potassium is not safe. So don't be stupid like me and get carried away on vacation. I shouldn't say I'm stupid though. But that was definitely a silly mistake. For anyone who struggles to drink their electrolytes, try blending it with water and like a seltzer water. Blending it with ice in a seltzer water. It's delicious. I also add a little bit of apple cider vinegar for tartness, and it's also a great source of potassium. If you have histamine intolerance, I would avoid the apple cider vinegar though. But yeah, that makes them easier for me to drink for sure. Tyler and I do that every single day. All right, well, I'll probably take a couple more questions and then head out here. For the people asking about liver health, you might be tempted to take a bunch of supplements or even do a detox protocol, but I would really encourage you to stick to the basics because your body will heal and thrive when you support it properly. It really, really happens. And I know that what I went through and reversed is a miracle, but humans are fearfully and wonderfully made. Like the fact that you're here watching this and communicating with me is a miracle. The fact that you were formed in your mother's womb and you're birthed and you're here breathing is a miracle. So whatever you're going through with your body, just know that it's already a miracle to begin with, and sometimes we just have to remove the interference. I don't mind at all. I'm due January 18th. Off topic, what are your 3 favorite animals? Elephant, owl. I'm not sure about the third one. Definitely elephant is number 1. I love owls, almost equal to elephants. And the third one is my dog Moose. I really like whales. I mean, after we went to Cabo San Lucas and saw the whales and stuff, I've been just amazed by them ever since, and I watch videos of them and stuff, but yeah, that might be. No, not to eat. I would not eat elephant. I definitely would not ever eat elephant. Like, no. Definitely not interested in eating owl. Probably has a lot of polyunsaturated fat. No. Yeah, owls used to be all over my old neighborhood in North Carolina. They're so cool. Do you think meat alone can heal chronic Lyme? It healed mine. and many of my clients. It's not about adding herbs and protocols. It's often just about supporting the body at a systemic level so that your detoxification pathways can work and your body will deal with it. I've worked with a lot of people with Lyme disease, even more so than SIRS. The only thing that I've ever brought in to help for some would be oregano oil, and that's not even needed for most. I'm telling you, if you get the nutrition part right, that's most of everything. I would not eat an owl. Gut issue, watery, and constipation, candida overgrown. So definitely would deal with the candida. I would cut out sugar, and you might consider using oregano oil as well. And just full disclosure, you shouldn't just take oregano oil like indefinitely. Oregano oil is nature's antibiotic. It kills the good and bad bacteria. So you need to be sure to pulse it. And it looks different for every person that I work with. We'll usually start with a lower dosage for a week, then we'll check in. It's just going to change, and it can take months or it can take weeks. So I can't make a direct recommendation for you, but your food is feeding the candida if it's thriving. And then if you are no longer eating any of those things, then it has embedded itself. Candida has the ability to basically hibernate in your cells and hide away. And so sometimes I actually have to bait it and then kill it with the oregano oil with my clients. So consider working with someone to deal with that. The watery stools could be due to rendered fat. It could just be the disruption from the candida, but it kind of sounds like it might be something more. I would be thrilled to help you if you're interested in health coaching. That's not fun, I'm sorry. Any idea to balance stress with food? Oh, that's kind of hard because I don't understand what the stress is about. Oops, the video paused. Man. Well, I'll just answer here. To balance stress with food, you've got to find a nice balance. You've got to find a way to support your body at a systemic level and for it to be sustainable. And so if you're not the person that does well with a very strict diet, then you've got to explore more than just beef, salt, and water. For me, that was a variety of cuts from Billy Doe meats, and then slowly adding in low carb, low oxalate veggie like cilantro and fresh herbs and maybe some romaine, some bok choy. Like, those shouldn't be problematic for most people. Your food stress could be emotional. It could be linked back to your childhood. You've got to address it at the root. You might find relief with therapy or working with like a life coach. I do life coaching as well. But also I think that toxic food relationships are also created from eating toxic food, because then you feel bad when you eat and then you just have this bad association with eating. That's what happened to me. I definitely had fear of eating because I reacted to everything. So there's a lot to it. It looks like my video is just permanently paused on Instagram, so I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, here's another question. My venison is comparable option to Billy Doe meats. I have more access to venison. Can't get Billy Doe here, unfortunately. So venison is delicious. It's great that it's a ruminant animal, but you're gonna need to add more fat. Venison is very lean. Billy Doe meats is fatty lamb, so probably more fat than protein in many of their cuts, like their chops. Venison is more protein than fat, so you will need to find a fat source, especially because you're underweight. Oh, I'm back. Okay. Sorry, guys. I just lost connection. So I answered the food stress question on YouTube because I didn't know if this would come back, but I'll shortly answer here. Basically, you have to identify the root of why you're stressing out about food. Is it something that happened in your past? Is it because you react to food and now you have this ongoing fear that you're going to have a food reaction? Many times when people eat junk food, they don't feel good when they eat it, and then they associate eating with not feeling good, and so they just stop eating as much, or they have a bad relationship with food. So there are many answers to it. You might consider working with a therapist or a life coach or a health coach. Have you helped people with very low white blood cell count? Yes, that's probably 75% of my clients. I work with people that went through things like I did. definitely. All right. Someone asked, what do you think of fat fast for 3 days for weight loss journey? I personally think that a water fast is better for weight loss because when you're eating fat, you're not going to be burning your own body fat. If you're someone who doesn't do well with extended fasting, strict water fasting, then fat fasting is a good way to go. I think fat fasting is more of just a therapeutic way to get your ketones high and increase autophagy. It's great for your brain, it's great for your body to recover, but it's not the best for weight loss because you're still consuming energy. For weight loss, you want to burn your own body fat. So if an extended fasting or alternate day fasting or OMAD seems like too much for you, which it's a lot for most people, I think it's a lot, you could always do like protein sparing modified fast. Maria Emmerich is great at teaching this. This is what I do with a lot of my male clients who want to lean up. You just choose 2 to 3 days per week where you eat mostly protein. So you're going to cut back on the added fat, and that will allow your body to tap into its own body fat stores, but you're still eating food. You can have lots of volume. You could eat shrimp, you could eat leaner cuts of meat, you could eat venison. I think a whole pound of venison is only like 20 grams of fat. So on protein sparing days, you want to stay under like 50 or even under 30 grams of fat some days. And that's not something you should do every day. For sure not. It won't end well. All right. Well, I think that's it. I am going to head upstairs and make some food with my husband. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for your well wishes. Thank you for celebrating with Tyler and I. We're so blessed. We're so grateful. God is so good. We've just been blown away with God's goodness. The miscarriage was so heartbreaking, and I didn't lose hope in God, but I was really confused. And even though I'll never understand why it happened, I see that God has perfect timing. I trust in that. And he just went out of his way to bless us with this child. Before we even knew about him, he was saying, look, I'm giving you this blessing. I want you to name him David. I've had no complications so far. I know I have a long way to go, and it's a little scary to talk about. But we're trusting him and we're standing in faith. So thank you so much for your prayers. I really, really appreciate them. And I will be sharing every step of the journey. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to message me. I can always try to help you there. And have a great Monday. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you.